Well, 2023 is an interesting time to be a man. All the traditional gender roles have changed and they keep changing. And that's not a bad thing at all. But it means that finding an actual definition of what it means to be a fella, one that you can relate to, is getting harder and harder. And that's essentially how an organisation called Mens Wellbeing came to be. Mens Wellbeing was created here in the Sunshine State back in 1998. It subscribes to the theory that building stronger communities of men makes a unique contribution to improving the well-being of individual men, and in turn strengthens the families and the communities that those men are a part of. Mens Wellbeing is bringing a 9-week program for men called Common Ground to Toowoomba. Craig Wyld is Mens Wellbeing Vice President. He joins me now. G'day, Craig.
Good morning, David. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have a chat to you. Tell me, I'm not sure if you were part of the organisation back when it was founded, but I assume you sort of know the story. Was there one particular impetus that made the people who did create Mens Wellbeing make it happen or decide to create it?
I wasn't around back in those early days, but what I can say is I would say Mens Wellbeing was born out of a need or a space, if you like, in the community for men to be able to come together and, dare I say, have the conversations that men need to have that men often don't get a chance to have. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And when you say the conversations, tell me a little bit more. I mean, define that. Conversations about what, essentially?
Look, there is a stereotypical, of what it takes to be a man, and like down the pub or at the sporting club and talking about cars, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, how many men get a chance to actually drop in deeper and talk about what's really important to them? It could be their children or their relationships or even just how they're feeling or, the burden of the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. Whatever it is, we just want to create a safe space where men can actually drop in and actually share what's really going on for them and be heard without being judged, without being fixed. And I think that's a really important space to create.
Is that the key when you say to be heard without being fixed? I mean, there's a lot of stereotypes about men, but one that is probably true is that we like to think that we can do things ourselves, and if you do need to offload some of this deeper stuff that you're talking about, and of course everyone does, you're not going to be waiting at the end for a solution. You're not looking for for someone to mend you. You're just looking for an ear, really.
Look, if most people, and most men and women for that matter, they already know the answer. They already have their own solutions. But sometimes they just need to talk it out and just be heard. And then they can hear their own solutions come bubbling up once they just get a chance to talk through the issue. But, like if you have an issue, for example, and you share it with me, if I jump all over the top of you and try to fix you and try and solve your problems for you, am I really serving you? I don't think I am. I think I'm actually robbing you of an experience to grow.
Tell me how you do this, though, because the other thing about men is that they traditionally, it almost becomes a self-perpetuating thing because, men do that small talk very, very well, and the talk gravitates towards sport and how work's going and how busy we all are and, brag. But in terms of getting deeper, it's not something that men do naturally. So how does Mens Wellbeing get men to do that in a way that works and in a way that has a positive effect?
Look, I think the most important thing is that we, as I just said, we don't try to fix anybody. I personally don't think people are broken. People they just want to share, and we create a space where they can actually share whatever is going on for them. It can be anything. But we just listen, and we just hold that space. We don't try to repair them. It's all done in confidentiality. And look, I grew up in the country. I'm a country kid at heart, and it's in my blood. And I remember what it was like growing up, and it was like, have a can of Toughen Up, or, man up, or, all of these stereotypes is what I grew up with. And I thought I had to be stronger and, not open up and not let people in. But I've got to be, now that I'm older, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I really don't think it is the courageous to put up this wall and not let people in. I mean, I'd almost go so far as to say it's almost cowardice by having this wall and not letting anyone in. And I think it takes real courage to actually deconstruct and bring down that wall and actually be vulnerable and open myself up and actually let people in, let people actually know who I really am, not this mask of what I'm trying to project. And it takes energy to constantly keep that wall up, to constantly project this image that I'm all right, I've got everything together and I've got all the answers, when a lot of men don't.
And it's also not healthy, is it really?
No, it takes a lot of energy. And I read this study once about fatherhood and children, and they said one of the best things you can do for children is to actually let them know that you're not perfect and you don't have all the answers, because then the children, they can look to their mum or their dad and go, you know what, they're human. They don't know everything, and therefore I don't need to know everything. And It takes that pressure off of them having to live up to an unrealistic expectation to try and be perfect.
It's a really good point. Men's Wellbeing is bringing, as I mentioned in the introduction, a 9-week program called Common Ground to Toowoomba. I believe first time in Toowoomba, but has been held many a time in other parts of the state. What's Common Ground?
Common Ground is very close to my heart. Common Ground is a 9-week program. It's one night a week for 9 weeks. We only take a maximum of 12 men, and we have 3 facilitators. So it's a very well-supported group. And then each week we just explore different areas that are important to men. It might be around fatherhood, emotions. It could be around communication, respect, relationships, intimacy, sex, whatever it comes up, we'll go there and we'll actually explore. But again, without any judgment, without trying to fix anyone, just giving people a chance to get off their chest whatever's going on for them.
And is it a structured program, or is it basically just a chance to talk each week?
No, it's a very structured program. So we start off and, I say very structured program. Think of a guitar, right? And you have the strings on a guitar. If the strings are too tight, the moment you go to pluck them, they'll snap. So if we have it too structured, then we don't get the music. And if we didn't have any structure at all, the strings would be completely loose. But by having that balance of strength and also flexibility, and that's how I see Common Ground, that's how we get to make the music, if you like, to run with the guitar analogy, is we have that balance of structure and flexibility. So even though each week we'll have set topics to explore and to delve into, and it's a very experiential process. If the group has a need, we need to go in a different direction, we'll modify the program. Our facilitators, they're not therapists, they're just men who have done the program, just men like you and I, who have been through the program and want to give back to the community. And we train them, and they're very seasoned and experienced but they're just the men that you can relate to, and they've got the flexibility and the skills to go wherever they need to go while still maintaining that structure.
So first time in Toowoomba, you're having a free information night coming up in a couple of weeks. Tell me what happens there.
Okay, so the information nights are great. They're free to attend. They're open to men and women. So if there's any ladies listening, please come along if you're curious, or if you have men in your life that you care about, maybe your father, your son, whatever. We'll actually give you a bit of a taste of what the Common Ground program will be like. You get to meet the facilitators, ask any questions, and then we've, as I said earlier, we only take 12 men in the program. I think a couple of the spots are already taken, and we haven't even run the information night yet. There's a lot of interest in the Toowoomba region around this, so we've got a local champion on the ground there, Peter Campbell. He's doing some great work, and he'll be there on the night. It gives you a chance, if you're at all curious, just to come along, meet the guys, and get a feel for it, and you'll know if it's right or wrong. And, if it's not right for you, that's okay. If you go, this is something, like when I talked about, being a bit vulnerable and lowering your walls and your expectations, so if that pushed a button or triggered you a little bit, then I invite you to come along and just explore.
Fair enough. So that's Tuesday, 20th of June, 7 p.m. at the East Creek Community Centre on Kitchener Street, East Toowoomba. As you say, obligation-free, but a chance to ask any questions and just hear what it's all about.
And if you'd like to book in, just go to menswellbeing.org/Toowoomba. They'll take you straight to the registration page to book into that. So that's menswellbeing.org/Toowoomba. And have a look around our website, menswellbeing.org, if you want to know a little bit more about what we do.
Yeah, there's a terrific video on there too that's worth a look. It's only 2 minutes, called A Message for Men. And it's a lot of men sort of probably voicing thoughts that most men think about from time to time, and just some of these questions that are raised. So that's well worth a look as well.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really powerful video, that one. And it got shared by more than 1,000 community organisations and men and women on social media. I think it's been viewed more than 100,000 times, that little video. It's a great video.
To use the modern vernacular, it went viral.
It went viral.
It went viral.
And isn't that so great that actually men stepping up and just becoming like the best version of themselves they can, the best dad they can be, something in that area actually went viral and the community got behind it. I think that's just really heartwarming and encouraging. Well,
it shows a need, doesn't it, really? It's exactly. Evidence that there is a need there, absolutely. Craig, a pleasure to have a chat to you. If anyone's listening who missed the details and they would like to know more, give us a call. We'll pass them on, 1300 747 222. But Craig, a pleasure to have a chat to you this morning. Best of luck with it.
Thank you so much to you, David, and ABC Radio for supporting this community initiative. It's great. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.